Hey, it's Jack Sperner. Welcome to Bible 101. If you like the content of Bible 101, remember to share, like, give a thumbs up, and hit the bell. That's it, hit the bell. Like, share, hit the bell. Also make comments if you're getting something out of this. Remember, Bible 101 is essentially me, Jack Sperner, a former children's pastor, taking the lessons I created in children's ministry and reteaching them for adults. So right now we are studying the Bible and whether we can trust the Bible or not. And last time we went through different areas where the Bible was trustworthy, but today we are delving into fulfilled prophecies, which is crazy. Think about this. If you had a room of people sitting around and you told, like there's 20 people in the room, and you tell them, like in a conference center, and you tell them, okay, now go up to your hotel room, because you're in a hotel, and sit down and write down the things that you think are going to happen this evening. Make predictions of all of them. And then you got together like an hour later, came back in that conference room, and everybody read their different things. And then you waited to see what would happen. No one could leave the room. You had to wait till midnight to see what would happen. How many of those things do you think would happen? And we're only predicting things like 3-4 hours in the future. Like none of them. Unless you predicted stupid things like, we're going to sit in this room until midnight. Well, yeah, because we already told you were going to do that, so that's not a prophecy. But the Bible, as we mentioned, is over 2,500 prophecies, of which 2,000 have already happened. That's mind-numbing. No other book on the earth is anywhere close to that. So today we're going to look at 3 biblical prophecies, and we're going to start in Micah 5:2. Hi, Cupcake. But you, Bethlehem Ephratah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come from me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times. Guess when Micah was written? I did some research, and Micah was written about 700 BC. 700 years before Jesus was born, there is a prophecy told by the prophet Micah who says the place of Jesus' birth. But you, Bethlehem Ephratah. Now think about this. Think about what happened and transpired to make that happen. So Mary and Joseph are from Nazareth. They're living in Nazareth, which is just outside of Jerusalem, and Nazareth is nothing, because it says in the Bible that, can anything good come from Nazareth? And, yes, of course, but good can come from anywhere, but it's a really small podunk nothing, especially sitting outside of Jerusalem, just a few miles from Jerusalem, which is the biggest city in Israel. And we have little tiny Nazareth, you would think. But 700 years before this, it was prophesied that Jesus would be born in Bethlehem. Well, Mary and Joseph don't live in Bethlehem. But there's this guy in Rome named Caesar Augustus, and he has this idea that I need to count my people. I need to count all my people. So he issues the decree that there's a census to be taken. So even Caesar Augustus obeys God 700 years before after the prophecy was given, that he says you have to be a census. And so how Israel works is, if you're going to be sensitized, census, you have to go to the home of your origin, the home of your birth. Well, Joseph was of the line and lineage of David. And David is from Bethlehem. So Joseph and Mary was heavy with child, had to travel to Bethlehem from Nazareth, and that is where Jesus was born. So what are the odds of that happening? The odds of, and actually a website I went to was talking about the odds, and there's some ridiculous number. I think it was 10 to the 18th power, which is 10 with 18 zeros to 1. 1 out of 10 to 18 zeros. Yeah, that ain't happening. I have a degree in math, and don't want to get into it, but that's basically an impossible number. You just throw the 1 on it because from mathematics point of view, you want it to work, but it's impossible. And yet here we have this prophecy in Micah that's saying Jesus is going to be born in Bethlehem. And then you have 700 years later where Caesar Augustus issues a decree that sends Joseph and Mary to Bethlehem where Jesus is born. Amazing. Now we have another prophecy from the book of Zechariah, and it was written in 500 BC. And another point I'd like to make about the Bible and the reliability of the Bible is that not only do we have old documents that show that these books have been consistent through the years. In other words, the book of Micah didn't get changed after Jesus was born so they could make it say that. The book of Zechariah wasn't changed after the fact to make it work because it existed that way pre-BC, the switch from BC to AD. That's the way the book was. So let's look at Zechariah 11:12 through 13 says, "And I told them, if you think it best, give me my pay read English much? No. Give me my pay, but if not, keep it. So they paid me 30 pieces of silver. And the Lord said to me, throw it to the potter, the handsome price at which they valued me." Remember that, the handsome price at which they valued me. "So I took the 30 pieces of silver and threw it then to the potter at the house of the Lord." What in the world? Well, that's what Judas did. Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. And this was prophesied 500 BC. Now, Matthew 26:15 says this, "And said, what will you give me if I deliver him over to you? And they paid him 30 pieces of silver." So there we have the New Testament telling what happened with Judas, that he gave them, the Pharisees gave him 30 pieces of silver to betray Jesus. So next we're going to look at Matthew 27:7. What happens to this money that Judas got from the Pharisees? "So they decided to use the money to buy a potter's field as a burial place for foreigners." So they took the money because Judas hung himself and he threw the money back to the Pharisees saying, "I don't want your blood money." And they took the money and bought a potter's field, which is exactly what Zechariah predicted 500 BC. So here we have two prophecies that were given centuries before Jesus came to the earth that were fulfilled. And now we're going to go look at the first prophecy about Jesus. And that's Genesis 3:15. So Genesis 3:15 reads, "I will put enmity between you," and God right now is talking to the serpent. He's going to put enmity between you, the serpent, because that's, he tells the serpent, you're going to crawl on the ground the rest of forever, and the woman. And who is the woman? The woman is Eve. The woman is mankind. "And between your offspring and her offspring." And who is the woman's offspring? The woman's offspring is Jesus. "And he shall bruise your head." So Jesus, the he here, Jesus is going to bruise Satan's head, smash him, crush his head, and you shall bruise his heel, which is going to be the representation of Jesus dying on the cross. So here we have, from this day and age, 3,000 years ago, a prophecy that was given over 1,000 years before Jesus was born, probably 1,300 years, something like that, that says that Jesus is going to be born and he's going to crush Satan's head, and Satan, the enemy, is going to crush his heel. But we know that Jesus rises from the dead, but that's why it represents like his heel getting crushed. So here we have three prophecies, one that was 500 years before it happened, 700 years before it happened, and 1,000 to 1,200 years before it happened. Absolutely insane numbers. So the Bible can be trusted because of these fulfilled prophecies. These prophecies that no other book in the world. I mean, do you know that the Bible's standard for prophecy or for someone speaking is 100% accuracy? So I'm going to throw this out as a little warning or a little thought. There are many people on YouTube today who have prophecy channels. If they're not 100% correct, they're not speaking for God. And there aren't any. The only book that has been 100% correct is the Bible. So be wary of these prophecy channels that are on YouTube because they're not 100% correct. But the Bible is reliable because of these fulfilled prophecies. There's no other book on the earth like it. And these people who say that this stuff was added after has been proven by archaeology that that's not true. These prophecies were there hundreds and hundreds of years before. Hey, thank you all for watching Bible 101. The Bible is a reliable book, and one of the big reasons is prophecy. We'll take next week and go more into the Bible and why it's a good book, why it's a reliable book. Not sure exactly yet what I'm going to do. I'm going through my lessons. I've got some ideas. I might do next one, might be another. We're adding this on because I'm teaching adults now. So God bless everybody. Remember to like, remember to share, and if you're getting valuable information out of this, and stay with us, hit that bell, subscribe, because we're going to be covering some pretty amazing stuff over the next few years. God bless everybody. Bye.